SUGARfx Subtitles can import SRT formatted subtitles to be used in your timeline. When the Subtitles plugin is applied to the clip, it displays some sample text already, and we can see the information box that can be turned on or off for your convenience. I'm going to show you how to work with a long SRT list of subtitles, and I have a 2-hour-long video loop placed in my timeline that I'm going to use for this example. You should have your finalized movie in the timeline, just like what I have in here. First, I'm going to use the SRT file that I have already changed its file extension from SRT to TXT. So I click on the button to import the text file and look for the file on my hard drive. Select it and click on the import button to accept. Once imported, I can click on the edit button of the text editor and check out how this format looks and scroll all the way down to the bottom and see how many subtitles there are. If you edit this file, do it with caution, because you may inadvertently disturb the SRT coding embedded in the file. The file contains close to 1,200 subtitles, so this is usually how a feature-length movie should look. Next, I'm going to make sure that I am using the correct format in the main setup parameters. Select the subrip SRT format from the drop-down menu. Now the information screen tells me that I have a total of 1,284 subtitles. If I move the timeline indicator to where the first subtitle is, I can see the ID number of the subtitle and the timecode information for the in and out duration, as well as the subtitle text. The last 3 numbers in the timecode are coded for an accuracy of thousandths of a second. The RTC, or running timecode data, displayed here should be used as a reference, and it should be very close, if not exactly the same, as your actual timecode in your project. I recommend that you check the timecode by moving the timeline indicator as far as possible towards the end of the clip and compare the timecode in the information box to the timecode in the current position of the timeline. In this example, the timecode data is not matching, and the offset difference amounts to several frames. When I see this in my project, I know this is a sign that I am working with a drop frame video clip, so I need to go to the timing offset section and enable the drop frame button. Now, the timecode in the information box shows the information very close or almost matching exactly to the timecode in my timeline. Keep in mind that the timecode in the information box is displayed for reference only. You should refer to the timecode in your project when you have any questions of accuracy. Before I continue, I'm going to set up the font and the appearance of my subtitles. If the info button is enabled, the information shown in the screen will always be in the standard font. That's why you have to make all the changes to the appearance and positioning of the text when the information box is disabled. You can always enable the information box again when needed. Go ahead and make the changes for color, size, and style, and if you want to use your favorite font, you can safely use it here if it's available in the font list. Some SRT files, like the one I'm using here, may have well beyond 1,000 subtitles. Therefore, it's important to be aware that some systems may have a hard time displaying the hundreds of subtitles that will be loaded in memory at one time. SUGARfx Subtitles offers a progressive way to control the limited capabilities and performance of your system when using a long list of subtitles. The parameter to control that is located in the main setup section, and it's called the limit max. This is a drop-down menu with several options to increase the number of subtitles displayed at one time. I recommend that you use the lowest number for safety and performance, and if you see that your system can handle more than the recommended, go ahead and increase one level at a time, and make sure that your playback performance continues to be optimum before increasing to the next level. The last thing you want to do is try and go to the highest limit, or no limitation, and find yourself with a computer crash or extreme slowdown. When using the limit max parameter, we will need to use several instances of the plugin for a long movie like the one in this example. That's why it is important to decide ahead of time on the font and appearance of your text before going any further. I'm going to leave this at the 100 subtitle limitation to show you how easy it is to set it up. The limitation parameter allows me to see only 100 subtitles in the timeline, and if you remember, the SRT file that I'm using contains about 1,200 subtitles. This means that I'm going to have to split my video clip every time I reach the end of sections that contain 100 subtitles. First, I need to know where in the timeline is my 100th subtitle. To know that, I click on the Edit button to open the text editor. Scroll down all the way until the subtitle number 100 is on the screen, where I can see the time in and the time out for this subtitle. I can see that this subtitle is on screen from about 11:23 to 11:26. So I'll jump directly to that time in the timeline by entering the out time here in the timecode box on top of the timeline. The timeline indicator moves to the new location, and I can see that the subtitle is visible in there. If I move the timeline forward, I can see that this is the last subtitle available because the limit max parameter is set to the 100 subtitle limitation. Now, I go back to where the last subtitle is visible and move forward frame by frame until the subtitle is out, and maybe move forward a couple of frames more. Select the blade tool and cut the clip where the timeline indicator is located. This cut creates two clips, the one on the left and the one on the right. The clip on the right side will have exactly the same filter that I applied to the first one, and will also have the same setting. That means that the starting time code will be the same as the other clip, but I need to offset the time code to match the time code that corresponds to the beginning of the cut in the timeline, so that I can continue adding subtitles. Make sure your timeline indicator is on the cut and that the second clip is selected. Go to the Timing Setup section of the parameters and click to edit the timecode offset. Enter the same exact timecode information as the one currently in your timeline. This is 00, 11, 26, and 15 frames, all the numbers separated by a period. This information box should display the correct timecode, or very close to it. And if you want to be exact, maybe you can change the frame digits up or down one frame to compensate for the difference and get an accurate readout. Now, I need to also change the subtitle ID offset so the plugin knows the number of the subtitle that I want to start from in this segment. Type the number of the next subtitle, which in this case, it's 101. Let's remember that this instance of the plugin will go from subtitle number 101 to 200 because I still have the limit max set to 100 subtitles. This workflow is done to save memory on your computer and to have good performance. If your computer can handle a higher limit, please increase the limit max parameter to a higher number, and your instance cuts will be fewer than what I'm doing here. The rest of the subtitles are done basically using the same method. Click again on the Edit button to open up the text editor and check where in time is the subtitle number 200. My subtitle goes out at about 23:02, so I can jump directly to that time code in my timeline, just like I did before. And there it is. Forward the timeline slowly until the subtitle is out. Select the blade tool again and make a cut where the timeline indicator is located. To set the new offset in the parameters, make sure that the timeline indicator is right on the cut. Select the video clip segment to the right side and apply the offset properties for the timecode, as well as for the subtitle ID, keeping track of what number was the last subtitle from the previous segment. If for any reason you need to make changes to the style of your font or other parameters that affect the appearance, you can do that in any of the segments used and save a preset so that you can apply it to the other instances of the Subtitle plugin. Once you get familiar with this workflow, you will notice that the process of placing a long list of subtitles using SRT files is very fast and easy to do. To learn more about the use of SUGARfx Subtitles, please visit our website at SUGARfx.tv.